Naples 1, the Miami FC 4. FC Naples had a rough 20 minutes to open up this one. Fall to the Miami FC. Paul, I thought you would appreciate that one. Being an Ohio State fan, they are the Miami FC 4-1 at Pitbull Stadium to open up their Prinx Tires Cup campaign. A bit of a disappointment to start this one. What do you say?
Yeah, I think some really bad, some really poor performances early. By the time we were able to settle in, the game was already out of hand. Um, Not to take away from the goals that they scored some tremendous goals. Um, and we're left with another what if Fashion doesn't get whistled for a cheap, soft foul in the box. Two guys come together. He barely touches them. He's the bigger player. Should have gotten the ball. Uh, High danger chance there. Maybe we go up 1-0 early and it's a different ball game, but I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, we are taking the stance on this podcast that foul called in the third minute changed the game.
Yep.
But yeah, a slow start. We knew the team had some rest coming into this one. We thought that would be a good thing, but to kind of start this game, it seemed like everyone was just, almost a step off the pace. Miami played on Saturday. They were kind of riding some momentum from that one after beating Sporting Jacks. But it seemed like everyone was just kind of like sluggish, maybe like a step, like not a lot of travel involved either over the other coast, but it looked like they had just spent, 16 hours on a plane the way we were kind of stepping to balls and stuff. And that first 20 minutes was just slow. Like you said, credit to Miami. It was three really great goals to open it up. But we just gave them too much time, didn't close people down, just kind of let them do what they wanted to do in that first 20 minutes. And then after that, we looked pretty good, I thought. Like we were in it, but when you're down 3-0, it's kind of hard to say that you were ever in it.
Yeah, Bachstein I believe, right? Bachstein gets the header that makes it at the time 3-1 late in the first half. And you're thinking, maybe we can squeak in another. We can squeak in another before half. Go into the half down one with all the momentum, and maybe we can get this to penalties. And then it looked like Miami was hot out the gate in the second half. They get a relatively early goal. Couple bizarre red cards. In my opinion, that looked like a scuffle that could have resulted in yellows. Ref probably trying to get the game under control in what was a blowout. So yeah, I think it's a disappointing midweek fixture, but we're gonna move on to back to league play Saturday and gotta re-rack and focus up for Knoxville.
Yeah, one of those where it's just kind of short memory, I think, and we move on pretty quickly from it. Take our lessons learned, and you can't start a game like that. We've been so good defensively all season and haven't had that kind of mistakes or been that slow to start. But that was definitely a game where we got punched in the face.
Yeah,
Right.
It's a showing, and when you get to play these championship sides, that's kind of the fun part of it. Is you're not supposed to win, for one, but it kind of exposes flaws that you might have that some of the USL One teams can't expose. So the back line breaks a little bit in a tremendous cross that results in a beautiful goal to start it by, I believe, the guy playing for Curaçao's national team. So some good talent over there, and they didn't need many windows, didn't need big windows, and we're able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, Miami looked really good. Like, credit to them. They were kind of taking it to us that first 20 minutes. They had a game plan. They executed it. They moved the ball really well. They kind of had their way, did whatever they wanted, just kind of like bullied us, I want to say, the first 20 minutes especially, and then just kind of start the second half. one of those where hopefully we've learned a lesson from it. We can't start games that way. We've got to come out quicker, stronger out of the gates, especially when we are taking on that championship opposition. Like you said, it's hopefully lessons learned. We can move on from it. We learn from it, and then we're on to Knoxville on Saturday.
Yep.
You are
What
right
is
though.
it?
That was the Carousel. He had the fourth goal and then the red card, but he also had an assist. So they were calling it on the broadcast the Gordie Howe hat trick, because he had a goal, assist, and a red card. So I think that was an impressive performance from him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to be playing against the best and the best this summer, and he took advantage of his opportunities today. What do you make going forward with this tournament now? You start in the hole. I don't know where goal differential plays a factor, but obviously not looking great in there. I'm guessing that if we win out, we'll be in play. But Miami's now in the driver's seat with 6 points. What are your thoughts as we continue on with this tournament?
Yeah, I think it's kind of Miami's to lose now in the group. But I think it's one game. We still have a chance to get out. You never know what's going to happen. We play Jacksonville next, who hasn't really looked great this season. So that might be a winnable game. That one's at home. Maybe that one lifts our spirits. We can get right back at it. And then we're right back in this tournament. I'm not ready to write it off yet, but I think it was definitely a wake-up call for, we've got to take these. We're a really good League One side and can compete with these championship sides, but we've got to take them just as serious as we do the league games.
Yeah, a weak USL in MLS, when we play Orlando, it's the same mentality. It doesn't matter what squad they're going to put out there. They're going to be a good squad and better than 90% of the competition we face. And that regardless of how poor they're playing, those upper level sides are going to view Naples when we face off as a get right opportunity. And they're gonna try to do what Miami did to us today and really try to dominate the game.
Yeah. I know you won't give a man of the match in a loss, but did anyone stand out to you? Had a good game, you thought, or just kind of forget about it? We move on to Knoxville.
Yeah, I think there's a couple moments that you could highlight. I think the whole build up to the Backstein goal was very good. Um, he stayed onside just long enough. I believe Chris Garcia was the one that passed to the assist. I don't remember who was the one that crossed it in. Kevin O'Connor had a couple really great crosses and great set pieces into it. They just didn't find, they didn't bounce the right way. So I think there are positives that you can take from the game, but I wouldn't say anything stood out enough to shout out from this one.
Yeah, I think for me, you said it was Backstein. He was, from the get-go, he showed the most fight, it seemed, with that. He was chasing every ball down, trying to win every 50-50. Even if it was a 60-40 in favor of them, he was still going in hard for it. I think he was definitely the most up for it out of the team. Garcia, you mentioned too, also looked good. Torres, I think, always kind of looks good. And yeah, just kind of not a great performance. But I think for my man of the match in the loss, I would have to go Backstein just for the goal too. Just a great striker's goal.
He looked like a guy trying to earn his way back into the regular 11. Played really hard, played physical. Like I said, who knows? That foul doesn't happen in the third minute. It's we have a different tone.
Yeah. The only other thing that I want to mention on this game before we move on, I know we said we would be brief with this. I think we're almost 10 minutes in now talking about it. Was the field mic picking up the conversations between Matt Poland and the fourth official was legendary. After we went 3-0 down, full disclosure, I switched the game from the big TV to the iPad, and put hockey on the big TV because I was like, okay, this one might be done. But I kept turning up the iPad to hear the field mic picking up the conversations there. So that was a lot of fun to listen to. Probably the highlight of it for me.
Yeah, and the low light as bad as we played for the beginning there, the low light, definitely that color commentator. Not a huge fan. He seems to not like Naples either.
He
So
agreed with
I
you though in the third minute that it shouldn't have been a foul.
he
He's like
did.
he Backstein shouldn't be called for foul there. He's just
He,
bigger and stronger and faster, I think he said, than the center back.
he did give praise to Bachstein. He's on strike two for me though, so hopefully it's a while before we get that tag team calling our games.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll move on now. Short memory with that one. Take our lessons. We took our medicine and we move on to taking on one Knoxville coming to town on Saturday. Knoxville was in the U.S. Open Cup tonight. They lost 4-1 to Columbus. So they also lost 4-1 away from home. So do with that what information what you will. But they come in second place in the league right now into Paradise Coast Sports Complex. We're back home to take on them. Probably the first true big test, I think, this season, other than Madison a few games ago, but that was still really early. Are you think we're going to be ready for Knoxville on Saturday?
Yeah, I think this team has a tendency to bounce back, especially losing to a championship side. I think everybody in the building is going to know we could have started out better, could have been a different game. Um, and it's on to another really big game against a team we haven't beaten. Ended our season last year. Um, really important game. Probably, if I was being unbiased, you're looking at teams that are probably going to meet up in the postseason at some point. Uh, Probably in the semifinals, if not later. So it is a big game. We're kind of at that point in the season where you can start to see, you kind of know what everybody is. And obviously, everybody can change their status with a lot of games left. But these seem to be the two of the four best teams in the league right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Knoxville has kind of been on a tear as of late. They won in the Open Cup. They beat DC United in penalties, and then lost tonight to Columbus, obviously. But it did look like they went full force, full starting 11, kind of like how we started out this one as well. They beat FC Tulsa too in the championship on Saturday, also in penalties. So thankfully this game won't go to penalties because we're not MLS Next Pro. But they've beaten Charlotte 2-1. They drew with Portland 0-0, beat Sarasota 2-1, and then beat Richmond 1-0. That's kind of their last three. They also drew with Corpus Christi, which I thought was kind of funny because we also drew with Corpus Christi. But they've had very similar results so far to us, but they've been winning a lot more by 3-2. So it kind of seems like they've got they're a little weaker at the back in comparison. But again, they've played some good teams. They're allowing goals. We've allowed some more goals as of late. It's kind of one of those. It's a big toss up, right?
Yeah, and there was some rumblings last year, maybe on this show, maybe not, that the Chattanooga Red Wolves were our rivals in this league, and I think that there's going to be rivalries developed specifically with Sarasota just because of the proximity. But moving outside of that, it's got to be Knoxville for us right now on teams that we really want to beat this year. I believe in 3 games it was combined 2 goals. They beat us 1-0 twice with a controversial penalty in that first game that I spent a lot of time talking about, and a controversial no handball called late in the second loss. So an opportunity here, I think, to keep with that energy. And when these two teams meet, it seems to be really defensive focused. And we'll see. It seems like Knoxville is a little bit of a weaker defense this year. So maybe there'll be some fireworks in this one.
Yeah, and for those wondering too, Kempis Tequila scored both of those goals. The penalty in the first meeting and then the goal in the 66th minute in the second meeting in the playoffs. He no longer plays for them, so he can't hurt us anymore. He does play for Omaha, so we'll see him in a couple weeks when we take on Omaha. But he can't score, so they do not have anyone on their roster that has scored for Knoxville against FC Naples. So that's the good thing. The bad thing is they have been able to score quite a bit. So I think this is really going to call into question that back line, and they're going to be tested in this one for sure, as well as the midfield. We've complimented the midfield on how they've been getting so far forward, but could that potentially hurt us with Knoxville hitting us on the counterattack? That's kind of the couple of questions that I have heading into this one.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see you mix in the fact that we have had a lot of really good chances and just not been able to finish at times. So with a weaker back line, are the opportunities going to be there? And hopefully the answer is yes. Maybe the midfield does play a little bit back, but so far it's been working. And it could be a game that's unusual compared to the three times they've already met.
Yeah, they seem to play a very similar style to us as well, kind of that 4-2-3-1. Don't necessarily need the ball, kind of like to hit teams on the break. It's very similar to how we've kind of been playing this season, the few times I've seen them. So it's going to be, the whole styles make a fight mentality. Two very similar teams. I think this should be a really good game, and I'm not sure which is going to fall first. If it's going to be their weaker back line, or if this one's going to be kind of 0-0, very low scoring, maybe a 1-0 wins it again, or will it be 3-2 like we've been seeing from them? I'm personally really excited for this one. Excited to be back home. Excited to be back in the beer garden. Should be fun, right? It's back home.
Yeah.
Little break. Last home game was that Orlando City game, so hopefully we've got another big crowd. Make sure to tell your friends, get tickets, come on out. And it's a Cinco de Mayo celebration, so I'm ready for some margaritas.
Yeah, I think if the energy is there, I think you were at that Knoxville game at home last year. I think I was at a Blades game because I remember watching it on my phone. Uh, I think that crowd, I think, could really make a big difference Saturday night, and hopefully we see some momentum that we built with that Orlando City game. So hopefully we get a good showing. We get, um, you know, we're loud. We're loud. We're rambunctious. We're ready to bring the fight to them on Saturday night.
Yeah, we're gonna need all the help we can get to take on this team. If it's a loss, where do we kind of go from there? Do we stick with it and think we can kind of right the ship, or is it time to kind of look back and maybe start changing the way our starters, or maybe start changing the way we look at the rest of the season going forward, with this being kind of another big test with another big team coming to town?
Yeah, I think that's a loaded question because the answer is it depends, right? If we come out and we're flat like tonight, when we put up a performance like we did today, and we lose 3-1, 3-0, something along those lines, sure. But I am anticipating a heavyweight fight here, and there's going to be blows. They're going to get a goal or two. We're hopefully going to get a goal or two. Um, right, and if it comes down to an 85th minute plus winner on one side or the other, I don't think you want to put too much stock into the result. You want to put the stock in how do we get to that result? How's it look? And again, I think we both agree that today was a throwaway game, and I wouldn't view it as a losing streak, even though technically it would be. It would be our second loss in league play. We'd still be pretty high up on the table, and I think what we've been doing it has been working. And as long as how we get to the result looks good, I don't think there's any reason to sound the alarms just yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it depends on the performance. I just keep going back to our last three fixtures. We've lost one, drawn one, and lost one. It's been a tough run of fixtures, to say the least, but it's time, I think, to right the ship and get back into the win column. And I think there's no better way to do it against Knoxville, especially them being so good so far this season. A game that we're going to to pick up 3 points here would be huge, kind of move us up, really to stake our claim that we're a top of the table contending team. And like you said, get revenge for all those 1-0 losses, the 2-1-0 losses last season would be huge. And Knoxville's the defending champions too, so anytime you can knock off the defending champions, massive.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm looking at the table here. Corpus has 2 points, and coming against the two teams at the top of the league, they can't do anything against anybody else. But if you're a title contender, you got to be ready because they'll scratch a point away from you. But yeah,
And they play
it's a good.
Spokane this weekend, so that's going to be a another big one where they'll probably pick up another point against Spokane, who's currently in third.
Yeah, that would be a fun storyline to follow this year. How they do against the top of the table versus the bottom of the table. But yeah, you mentioned that the last three games, Portland a tough environment, and then you got a championship in an MLS side. Before that, we had three really good games. So um, but that does explain kind of the reason for the question, right? That would make it four straight games without winning a match. And again, it wouldn't really be fair to say, your draw at Portland, where that's a tough place to pick up points, and then two losses to an MLS and a championship side, and then you lose to the team that would then be top of the table. Um, this is the gauntlet of the season. You're going to play tough games in a row, and the big thing is you want to pick up points. And we say that all the time. And if we walk out of here with a 2-2 draw and we played well, I think that would be a draw that felt like a win.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think right now, if you were to say, hey, you want a 2-2, like take the 2-2 draw now, yes or no, I think I would probably take it.
Yep.
Move on with a point against Knoxville. We know they're a good team, defending champs. Yeah, let's take that point, move on. We're on to Spokane, because then we have another two tough games coming up next week with on the road at Spokane and at Boise, who both look very good as well this season, currently sitting in third and fifth respectively. And then we've got Jacksonville coming to town in the next round of the Prinx Tires Cup. So yeah, I think you would take the 2-2 draw right now. But hopefully we can go out and maybe even get 3 points. Yeah, it should be fun. I keep going back to this is supposed to be fun, and I shouldn't be nervous for it, but I'm a little nervous for this one, not gonna lie.
Are you more nervous for home games or road games, or is it the same?
I think I'm more nervous for home games, knowing that I'm going to be there. And I was hoping to go over to Miami tonight, wasn't able to make it, sadly, and maybe that was for the better, but kind of feel like home or away games are more of a free hit, although I do become a nervous wreck watching them on TV, but probably less of a nervous wreck than I am in the stands on a Saturday night.
Yeah, that's probably from the mentality is you'll always take a point on the road, less pressure to actually win and just walk away with something versus at home. The best teams win at home, pick up points on the road. So the pressure to win is significantly higher when you play at home. So this one, watching from out west, will be nerve wracking because again, it's a good team. It's a big game, but again, long season. Not the end of the world, even if this doesn't go the way we want it to. But I am optimistic that we're due for a bounce back spot here.
Agree with you there. Do you have a scoreline prediction for this one, for your bounce back game?
I'm going to go 3-1. I think that we'll be able to expose their back line, and I like our back line not to, they're going to bend, but they won't break. They'll probably sneak one by us, but when you got an offense that good, it's likely to happen. So I'm gonna roll 3-1 Naples.
I think I'm with you on the 3 goals. Actually, I'm gonna go 3-2 Naples. Going away from my 2-1, I think 3-2. We're gonna be able to get some goals here. We'll finish our chances. We'll be very clinical. I think the team's kind of gonna respond nicely from the start that we had against Miami. But I think this Knoxville team too is very good up top. They'll be able to find a way through. I'm going to go 3-2 to Naples.
I can't wait for the 78th minute when Beckstein puts in the goal to put us up 3-1, and
Oh,
we're just chatting about whose scoreline's going to be right, and hopefully we're both wrong and it becomes 4-5-1.
let's hope.
That's the goal.
Yes. I can't. If that happens, it's going to be absolute limbs, as they say in the stadium. We've got a busy weekend too for USL League One. So if you're a League One fan, like watching the other games on TV, get ready because it kicks off Friday with Richmond hosting Westchester. And then we've got quite a few games. 5 o'clock, Portland's hosting the Cosmos. Fort Wayne's opening their stadium. Hopefully, last I saw, there was no seats installed. So our friend Brian there from Fort Wayne Footy, I know he's hoping that they can get the seats installed before Saturday when they take on Charlotte. The Paradise are in town against Madison. Omaha's taking on Greenville at 8. Corpus Christi's taking on Spokane Velocity at 8:30. I think that's Corpus Christi's first home game as well this season, so look for them to get a point because they only get points against the top 3 teams. And then Boise's taking on Chattanooga Red Wolves. Lots of great games this weekend. Should be a fun weekend for some footy.
Yeah, is there an around the league game that you're looking forward to most?
I think I'm curious to see this Boise Chattanooga game at 9. We have Boise coming up, and Corpus Christi and Spokane, of course. But we've got Boise coming up midweek. Not this midweek, but next midweek. And Chattanooga, I thought was going to be pretty good, but they've only played 3 games and they've won 1, lost 1, and drawn 1. So curious to see what's up with this Chattanooga team. Are they the real deal, or are they kind of resetting for another year? And Boise as well seems to be legit. They're 2-2-1, having played 5 games, and their stadium looks really cool too on TV. So I think that's my game to watch. Do you have one that you're looking forward to?
I'm gonna stick with that Spokane Corpus game just for the storyline of, can Corpus pick up some points against another top of the table team? Um, but it might be an all day event out here on the West Coast, and might have a lot of USL soccer rolling through, starting at dawn and going till dusk.
Yeah, I figured out on my iPad I can swipe between games on ESPN Plus. That was a game changer
Ooh.
when I discovered that tonight. I did it a couple times accidentally because I was trying to turn up the volume and accidentally swiped over to the Lightning Canadiens game, which was also on the TV. Can I just say, bad sports day for Ian's teams. The Rays lost, although they've won a ton of games in a row, so I can't be upset about that. Plus, it's such a long season. But they lost. Then FC Naples lost, and then the Lightning just lost 3-2 to the Canadiens to now send the series back up to Montreal. But I think the Everblades won, so at least there's that for me. I've got that going for me.
That's another good team to support. Kelly Cup playoffs. Is that where are we at in that? Do you know?
That was game 3. They're up 3-0. And I forgot the Magic, who I've just started cheering for as of about a week ago. When they beat the Pistons in game 1, I said I'm all in on the Magic. They lost today too, so my week-long support of the Magic. Although I did used to go to Magic games in college, so I don't think I can be claimed as a bandwagon fan because I have a blue and white Ignite T-shirt from a Magic playoff game a few years ago.
Not sure anybody's calling a new Magic fan a bandwagon anytime soon.
That's, yeah, very fair. But yeah, rough day for my sports teams. Hopefully tomorrow Forest turn it around, and then Saturday FC Naples can get a win for us. Paul, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up and get out of here?
No, it's a disappointing night. We'll sleep on it and forget about it tomorrow. I'm back on the training ground. Short bus ride home to think about it and be ready for a really good side on Saturday.
Yeah, with you on that one. Short memories. Let's respond on Saturday. If you like the show, be sure to share it with the friends. Leave us a like and review on your podcast app of choice. Be sure to share it, like I said, with your friends. Help us grow. Follow the show at Forza Naples Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Get in touch with the show too by email, forzanaples239@gmail.com. All those links are down in the bio. Until next time, we will see you soon, and come on Naples.